showing you guys how you can get started with Python programming. And I think what I'm going to do with these videos is I'm going to make a bunch of series of Python videos. And this first Python video, I'm going to show you guys how to download and basically get started with Python. And I'm going to be showing you guys how to run your first script and do like a simple hello world application. So the first thing that you guys want to do is you want to download Python, and you guys can just download whatever the latest version of Python is that's like recommended or official. And the newest version would be 3.9.1 for me. If you're watching this in the future, it probably will be much higher than this since Python gets updated every so often. So you just want to download this, and then you also want to download Pycharm. Now Pycharm is completely optional, but I extremely recommend downloading this IDE for Python because it's going to make your life 100 times easier. I'm going to show you exactly why that is. And for Pycharm, you just want to download the community edition. If you just type in Python, you'll see there's this IDLE application, and this is basically the Python shell. And if you go to file and you create a new file, this would be your Python file. And every file in Python that you make will have like a name to it that you make the name, and then it will have .py. So .py is like the name file extension for the Python files that you'll be working on. And in order to create a hello world application, all you have to do is literally type print parentheses, and then inside of the parentheses you can put quotes, 2 quotes, and just type in hello world. And then you would go to run and run the module. And with this Python editor, you have to save the file every time you run it, so click OK. And then now you need to save the file to a location. I'm going to just put this on my desktop. And this is the Python shell basically opening the hello world.py file that we just made. And as you can see, it executed just fine, no errors. Now I'm going to show you guys Pycharm, which is what I really recommend for doing all your editing in Python and whatsoever. So I'm going to open Pycharm Community Edition. So the first thing you want to do when you open Pycharm is you want to create a new project, and just basically put in the location of wherever you want your project to go. I'm gonna put YouTube series. Okay, and you want to create a new environment, preferably using this. You don't have to worry about these. These two I would recommend just checking, but you don't have to. And then if you want a welcome script, which doesn't hurt to have, I would just put this checked as well. And then go to create. So the first thing, you want to create a new file, a Python file right here. Name it whatever you want. You can name it main, which is what most people do when they run their Python applications. I'm gonna just name this hello world. And now the editor is open, we can type whatever we want. And this is basically the main difference between Pycharm and normal Python, is that Pycharm basically has like a built-in like smart editor that like auto completes a lot of the stuff that you're typing. And that's basically what an IDE does. It's an integrated development environment, and IDEs help you basically program a lot quicker by helping you auto type and like autocorrect. And they also point out the errors that you might be typing out in real time so that you can correct them. So all we have to do here for hello world to work is type in, just like we did before, hello world. And that is basically it. Now if you get this message, invalid Python interpreter, you can go to configure and just choose this one. I might make a separate video on how to actually fix that, because I used to have a lot of issues with that in the past. But let's see if this will work. We will run this, the hello world file, and as you can see, it basically just prints hello world to our output. Now how this works exactly in Python, because I didn't exactly go over this, when you type in print, when you just type in print, it basically sets you up to output whatever you want to output. And it's typically like, it could be text, numbers, booleans, which I'll go into in a later video. But anything that I like put inside of these parentheses and the quotes, it will basically output to the user. And if you don't put something like, if you're like missing a parentheses, for example, you obviously get an error like this, a syntax error. And a syntax error is basically just telling you that you're like disobeying one of the rules of Python with a print statement. A print statement has to have, has to be enclosed in parentheses, and it has to have quotes if you want to like output a string, but you don't necessarily have to have quotes, which I'll go into a little bit more in further videos. But yeah, that is basically the gist of the video. Anything that I type in here will get outputted. A big difference I should mention between other languages in Python, like I believe Java for example, in order to actually print hello world like we just did to the console, the main thing with like Java is it at least takes a minimum of like 5 or 6 lines of code. But in Python, as you can see, we only used one single line of code in Python to print this. And that's like one of the most obvious differences between Python and a lot of other languages, is that it's very like easy to read, and the development process of like writing the code is very quick, because you're doing a lot more actions in like less lines of code. So that's basically it for the video. If you guys enjoyed it, please leave a like, and thanks for watching.